Hi, Susan. Yeah, so welcome everyone. And I'm here to talk about how to make. Jessica's from Stanthorpe. Yeah, so if you just want to write in the chat box where you're from, and then I'll start. So I'm here to talk about how you can make money from being a vegan chef, and there are oodles and oodles of ways, lots of ways, and I'll just tell you how I've structured this. So I've got slides and I'm going to go through those with you. And I have got you on mute at this section of the webinar. I couldn't think of the word, but if you please, let's make it interactive. So just pop in the chat box anything that you want to say, and I'll answer questions as we go along. And I'll talk a little bit about me and my background, and then do the presentation. And then and I will be talking about the vegan chef training. So I just wanted to let you know that, so that you don't get a surprise and think, oh, she's just done this to advertise. But I want to give you lots and lots of information on how to make money as a vegan chef. But I'm also going to tell you about the vegan chef training and what that has to offer. And then at the end of that session, I will unmute everyone, and you can ask questions and answers. If you can ask questions and I'll answer the questions, but please ask questions as we go along, so that and I'll answer those too. There's still people coming in, so they've just missed that bit. That's okay. And I'm going to share the slides, hopefully. Here we go. Okay, here they are. So how to make money as a vegan chef. Yeah, I'm going to talk about all the ways that we can make money as a vegan chef. There's so many ways, and it's hugely exciting. And before we start, I will do acknowledgement to country. So I acknowledge the Minjimbil people of the Bundjalung Nation as the custodians of the Murwillumbah area where I live, and support people with their health through food. I pay my respects to you, the Minjimbil elders across time, and wish to express my appreciation for your continued custodianship despite the injustices your community has faced. I have deep appreciation for the way you provide a harmonious balance between feeding the community and providing environmental conservation. And I have the rights to use this painting, and it's called The Journey, which I think is brilliant with, on the path of veganism and providing vegan food for people. It is a journey that is just never ending. And Louise O'Reilly, my inclusion coach, has given me permission to use that beautiful painting. So let's move on and talk about, I've gone a bit too fast there. So just a little bit about me. And I know that many of you on here know about me, but there'll also be people watching the recording, so they might not know about me. I've been vegan for 10 years, and prior to that I was vegetarian for 29 years. I need to see if I can get the chat box up, because is anyone chatting? Because I can't see it. No one's chatting, so maybe that's why I can't see it. I've been vegan for 10 years and vegetarian for 29 years. I did have a little slip up in the middle, because I read the blood type diet, which isn't a diet that's founded in science. So the information on there was not accurate, but I fell for it, and it was a very small slip up. It was for about 3 months. But all of that time I've lived healthily on a plant-based diet, well, especially in the last 10 years, because I haven't eaten any dairy or eggs in that time. And I wanted to be a vegan chef when I was 16, not vegan, vegetarian chef when I was 16, but I couldn't, because there was no, I would have just been ridiculed, and I would have had to cut meat and chicken and all of that. And there was no way I was going to do that. So I worked in disability services, and then moved on from there and became a primary school teacher, and taught in schools and a juvenile detention centre for 13 years. I'm a little bit concerned that I can't see any chat. Sorry, I'm just gonna stop. Why I can't see the chat? Oh, there. Okay, sorry. Okay. Oh, so you're Wellington Point Redlands. Okay. Yeah, and I have a postgraduate certificate in nutrition because I decided that I really thought that I was healthy as a vegan, but I just wanted to make sure because I was also lots of people were asking me nutrition information, so I studied at Deakin University, and yes, I'm on track, and you can't see the slides anymore. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you for that. Let's see. Thanks. So if I can't see I'll just try it this way. Yeah, okay, now I can see both. Can you see the slides now? Yay, thanks, Catherine. Sorry, it's a bit clunky. Um, Yeah, and yeah, so I was talking about the nutrition degree. So I have that behind me, and I was actually enrolled to do my masters, but I just couldn't do everything. But I do have the dream to go back to do my masters in nutrition, and because that's science-based nutrition masters, it's just really helpful to have the science behind it as well. I ran a vegan catering business for 12 years. And I know a lot of you know this, but I started out doing home delivery service, and it was a very successful catering business. But then in 2015, I decided that I'd seen that there were so many people with so much talent that wanted to train, that wanted to train as chefs, but they couldn't because there was no way they were going to cut up meat. So I developed the vegan chef training, and that's what I'll talk to you about later. And that's been running every year except for 2020. I didn't run it then. In total, I've had my vegan food related business for 17 years, and I plan to stay doing this for the rest of my working life. I'm passionate about helping others to eat healthier and educating people on how to make healthy food choices. And I've been the last couple of years doing that with individuals, and I just realized that there's only so many people I can reach with that. So I really am focusing on getting the vegan chef training continuing the vegan chef training, because I think that there's a lot of people that can help a lot of people out there, but they haven't, they're just not following their passion in the vegan world. So, or in plant-based food. So that's why I still will always run the vegan chef training, and so that people can go on and create their own epic vegan businesses, and that's or food businesses, because I know not everyone that comes along is necessarily vegan, and vegetarian food businesses are also important out there, because that's one step towards people becoming plant-based. So is anyone asking any questions? I can't see the chat. That's annoying me. Has no one asked questions yet? No. So that's okay, because that was just about me. So maybe if you do ask a question, I'll have to work it out. Well, maybe it will just pop up when you do ask a question. When you ask a question, it pops up. Oh, thank you. That's great. So I'll move that there. Yay. So making money as a vegan chef. So if I could have my time again, like, I would do it differently. And you know what I would do? I would start my business out as a hobby, because what I did is I quit my job. And had so much stress because I had to get my rent paid and support a business. And luckily the business I chose to do didn't have a lot of overheads at first. But when I see people starting their business as a hobby, they just have so much relaxation around it. And it gets to the point where you don't have to, you can leave your day job. You can resign and give them enough notice and move on. So that's what I would do. And if I had my time again, but I don't have my time again. I'm fully into this business. Anyway, so you can start, when you start from a hobby, you get to do really fun things. Like last Friday, I made with Jackie and Lilia, who are doing the vegan chef training online. We made magnums, and it was one of my neighbor's birthday. It was her birthday. One of my neighbors had a birthday. And so I just put, 4 magnums on her doorstep, and her husband came over on Sunday and said, "I love those chocolate dipped lollies you sent over. Can I order 20?" So of that's not my business right now, but of course I'm going to make him 20, and so that's just how easy it is when you start creating food for people, how easy it is you can end up in a business, and it may just be a hobby. And when it's a hobby, you don't have to go through the whole food regulations, and as long as you're doing it well, you can, like, I could make magnums for my whole neighborhood. I know it, but I'm not going to. But that could start into a business. So when you start as a hobby, you can make food for friends for their weekly meals. So these are just some ideas. Now, what I wanted to say is, if you have your own idea of how you'd like to make money already, pop that in the chat box, because I might not have thought of everything, because these ideas are endless. I have a client right now that I work with. He's not doing the vegan chef training, but every time I work with him, we come up with another idea of how we could make money. Are you like that? Like when you're talking with friends, you think about how we can make, and it's always related to food. So so making food for friends for their weekly meals, parties and gatherings, including children's birthday parties, holidays and vacations. Now, this one was my favorite. When I was doing retreat catering, I got a call from someone who was having a holiday near the venue that I was retreat catering at Suffolk Park. Shri Pati's got vegan catering for my GP clinic at Vinnie's and at hospices. That is incredible. Yeah, that's not it. That's not on my list. So thank you for sharing that, Shri Pati. Yeah, so this woman rang me and she said she was having a holiday with her extended family. They had hired a holiday venue down at Suffolk Park in Byron, and they wanted some of the guys were going to cook meat on the barbecue, but they wanted the rest of the food to be vegan, and they wanted lunch and dinner. And I did that for a week. And so it was okay for me because I was at the retreat venue and I could just pop that over. But I thought, if I wasn't a retreat caterer, that's what I'd love to do. I'd love to provide people with food, because they didn't want to go out to restaurants. They had hired this beautiful accommodation. They wanted to stay there and be with the family and be jolly and have fun and have good food. So that's a great idea. Just so you know, I will send you these slides as well. Or I'll send you the recording, so the slides will be on there. So if you can't take note, or you can screenshot anything that you want as well. Okay. Work contributions and bring a plate contributions. So the bring a plate contributions is more in my area. I don't know if everyone does this, but often you'll get invited to a party and you have to bring a plate of food. And I've got friends that don't go to parties because they don't know how to cook a plate of food, and they don't want to take a potluck. Yeah, they don't want to take another hummus and another chips or another bar of chocolate because they're tired of being known that that's what they take. So I thought it would be a great idea to offer those people that you could cook for them and they could take what you've cooked, and so at least they've put some effort in. Of course, they can go to the shop and buy something, but same with work contributions. When I worked as a teacher on a Friday, it was on a rotation. It was a very big school, but there was always a morning tea, and they really wanted people to bring in homemade food. And when you're a teacher, your day does not finish at 3 o'clock. You're working till 9 o'clock at night. And so when do you have time to put on a batch of cookies or make a cake? But if someone was offering that to all the teachers in the schools, that could be another way of making money. So is everyone finding this interesting? Well, you are. I know you. Yeah. Okay, cool. Not have thumbs up. Okay. And meal trains for new mums. Illness and accident recovery, so and times of grieving, so they're all big ones. Of course, in some countries like in the US, you get inundated with food because that's part of the culture, but sometimes, like my friend just had a very bad accident and she contacted her close friends to cook for her because she has extreme dietary requirements. And in the chef training, we look at dietary requirements a lot. She couldn't have asked a wider community for food because they wouldn't be able to cater. Like someone did bring over a pie and she's gluten-free and on the low FODMAP diet. And so I just thought that that was, she's after 3 weeks now, she's able to cook a little bit herself. But some people, and she has money, she could have paid someone to have cooked for her. So, there could be that offering. Even working out, like going on people's meal trains, and those mums who say they want to help, but those people that say they want to help, but they can't cook, they could be accessing your service, and they could be getting your food to give to people. You can, so that was there. And then as a hobby, you could make food for charity fundraisers and school fundraisers. And that's a good way of getting your name out there, especially when you're new. So even, I forgot to say this at the, oh, great. Thanks, Catherine. I didn't see that. Yeah, meal train is when a group of people take it in turn to cook food for someone. And there are professional meal train sites. Like we had a friend who had cancer, and so she needed meals for a very long time. And so someone put together a train, and there were lots of gaps. And she also had the money to fill those gaps. So loving your slides, Veet, and also love and appreciate your retreat catering. Fond memories from 10 years. Oh, thank you, Kylie. I knew I recognized your name. So you were one of the on the retreats. Yay. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, so even if you're starting out as a hobby, do have some sort of business card. Well, business cards are going out, but have an Instagram page or a Facebook page or somewhere that you can refer people to. So I'll just tell you that, because that's about I'll go back to the ideas. I'm hopping all over the place. But when we used to just hand out a business card, and I used to just put that business card. I used to actually say, no, I don't want a business card, because I knew it was going to go in the compost. So what I do now is say to people, oh, do you have your phone with you? And then I get them to go on Instagram or Facebook, and then they follow me straight away. Or better yet, I ask them for their email address and ask them if they want to go on the mailing list. And then I get their email address, and they're on my mailing list. So even if you start out as a hobby, start collecting email addresses and have a place to refer people to. All right, so when making fun for charity fundraisers, those cakes that you can see in that slide there, they are from a charity fundraiser I did. We used to have a activism table down at the markets, and I used to make cupcakes, and I made them with a few of the chefs in training at the time, and we just gave them out. And so then someone came along and said, wow, those cupcakes were amazing. Can I book you for my daughter's birthday? So it's a good way to get known. And that's where you're seeing it as a hobby. So, and there's always fates in the area that need cooking for, or school fundraisers. Charity or profit events such as concerts and fairs at venues in your local town and city. So it doesn't have to be a charity. It could be a profit event. Making food for workshops you are attending to fund the cost of the workshop. So I'm very much into doing 5 Rhythms dance, and I used to do lots of workshops. Anytime there was an overseas teacher coming to that workshop, I went, and I funded it by providing the food. The actual facilitators, because they were big workshops, they didn't want to include it in the cost. So they didn't want everyone to, they didn't give catering to everyone, but they allowed me on their mailing list to say, I'm providing the food, who would like to order it? And out of 70 people in the workshop, I'd get about 50 ordering it. So I didn't just fund the workshops, I funded to go to Melbourne to do workshops. It was very good. And when you're doing things like that, there are things to consider. Like it wasn't that I also funded that I bought glass containers to put it in, because I wanted people to have a nice bowl to eat from. Or it could have been a buffet, but I didn't do it like that. Making food for the Greens campaign or any political party that you're, I just put the Greens campaign. Now I'm telling you my preference of who I vote for. Or the Animal Justice Party, that's my preference at their events. So then you do get, because, you do get known by lots of people that come to those events and they're like, oh, wow, that food was so good. I need that food for my 50th or my 60th. Yeah. So, gone too fast. And you can work for someone else. So Lynn, who graduated in the vegan chef training 2 years ago, she works in cafes, and she actually works at the moment it's not a vegan cafe, but they don't make her do the meat side of it. So she does the vegetable side of it, and she's been able to weave some of her amazing vegan things onto the menu. So that's very exciting. So you could work in a cafe. When Andy graduated, he worked for Smith and Daughters. Does anyone know Smith and Daughters? It's in Melbourne. It's quite a famous vegan cafe and restaurant, and that looks like that's the old one. They've got a bigger and newer place, and so you can work for cafes, restaurants, a catering business is already established. Natalia, who does private chefing in Perth, she's just landed a job working for someone who caters over in Canada for 300 people. And so she's really happy to be working for someone else rather than herself at the moment. Well, she is doing private catering as well, but daycare centres and on cruise ships. So daycare centres and cruise ships may look for chefs that can cater for different dietary requirements. And someone has just recently started working for a daycare centre, and they've been asked to do all the vegan and gluten-free food for people. So there's plenty of opportunities. Now you can create your own vegan business, and you can create your own brick and mortar vegan business that has a venue attached. And this is the hardest, because you need the money to either set up the venue or to buy an existing business. So so this photo there is of Ebony, and she started out in a horse float, and they put the horse float in the garden of a cafe in Dwellingup in WA. They put the horse float in the garden of an art gallery, not a cafe, in the garden of an art gallery, and she just has expanded, and that's what her cafe looks like now. It is so beautiful. I just did a podcast with her. It's because you're sitting there in the art gallery having your food and your drinks. But if you're going to do this where you need to have it's a business that is in a permanent place, you do have a lot more to do, and you do need to be in it for the long haul. So both Ebony and Tenzin and Emily, who have cafes from the very first training, they've been in their cafes. Ebony's 5 years now, and Ebony's Tenzin and Emily are 6 years, going on to 7. And they say now that they're so glad they've stayed in it, because now is when they're really doing well. So up until then, they were paying their mortgage, yes, and having a holiday here and there, but they're now actually doing well. So you do need to stay in it for, you do need to stay in it for a long time. But I think that with, if your passion is your business, then why not do it for a long time? I'm going to keep my business forever. That's just what I've decided. So you will need to get DA approval, and it's a longer path, and it does need money. Or you can do what the wonderful Susan's doing, and she's on here now. You could find a cafe that wants to offer pop-up dinners where you could go in 2 nights a week, for example, and it's all set up and you don't have to worry about it, but you've got the infrastructure there. So Susan, I don't know if you want to say anything about it in the chat, but Susan's just started. Tomorrow is her 3rd week doing that. And then you could have a food truck or food stalls at markets, events, and street parties. Ariane, who she actually didn't complete the vegan chef training, but she has a market stall in Marlon. I don't know if she's got it in Byron as well. But in those markets, you can't just prepping for tomorrow. That's great. Those markets, you can't actually have a truck. It just has to be a stall. You could do a bed and breakfast, or you could, if you had the money, make a retreat center. So that those ones are exciting, but they're also ones that do take money to do. Except the pop-up and the food store for the markets don't, because you can hire a kitchen. So you can hire a kitchen, and then you could just have your tables and your marquee, and that's not going to cost too much. You do need your food licenses and everything, but that's also quite easy to, well, it's not easy to get, but you can get them. Definitely get them. And then catering, and that's what I did a lot of, and that's the lovely Cato, and that kitchen is beautiful. You get to work in the most beautiful destinations when you're a caterer. I worked at the beach for 10 years, and I also worked out in the hills, and I got to go down to Borley Point, and which is a long way away from me, but I could have gone to lots of other places, but I chose not to. And I don't know, Susan, do you know, is that Blue Green Cafe? Is that Blue Green Retreat Kitchen? I don't know that kitchen, but it's such a beautiful kitchen. So when you're catering, it's Blue Green. Yeah, so that was a retreat centre that opened up after I finished catering in the Byron Shire, and a lot of people go there, and it just looks stunning. So you can cater for events, so music events, all sorts of events, weddings, workshops and retreats, gatherings and parties, family holidays, workplace functions, the Olympics and sports events. Why not reach for the stars? I met a man once that made flourless cakes, and now the Olympics and places like that are starting to think about, making the whole thing vegan. So this is where you could get a foot in the door. But I met a man once who made flourless orange cakes for the Sydney Olympics. So that's 2000. And for those 2 weeks, and he had 2 small ovens and a mixer, and he did work a lot of hours in those 2 weeks. In those 2 weeks, he made $20,000 and put a deposit down on a house in Sydney. So those sorts of things, you can make a lot of money if you get the foot in the door there. So expos, daycare centres, cruise ships and pop-ups. So cruise ships, they do have their own separate section for dietary requirements. And pop-ups, so Susan's doing a pop-up in a cafe, but for example, a lot of local halls are doing, especially, this is not in the city, it's more in the country. They're doing, there's halls that do pop-ups. So Kurrabell Hall, for example, they have a different caterer selling food every night. So they have the kitchen established. They have all the plates, all the crockery, all the tables, all the chairs, and they want more people going through the hall to create a community vibe. And you can just rock on in with all your stuff, and make it there, all the veggies and everything. And maybe you need your blender there, and you make it there and you sell it there. And that one actually pop-ups. And is it just pop-ups? Yeah, pop-ups is the only one in there that you're not guaranteed. You don't know how many people are attending. So it's a bit like a cafe. It's hit and miss. Whereas with catering, I always knew how many people would be at the event and how many people would be at the retreat. So you're not out of pocket ever with that sort of catering. But with pop-ups, you can be. It is a bit hit and miss unless you have a good booking system. So you could introduce, I was saying to Susan that, why not try book through, well, it was Susan's idea to book through Humanitix, get people to pre-order the food so what they're going to want. Why not let the world know that it's not easy being in a cafe or a pop-up, and pre-orders would be really appreciated. If I knew that a restaurant was struggling and needed me to pay before I went, I would do it. So yeah. And then there's private chefing, which is beautiful. And that photo of the food there is from Natalia, and when she first finished the vegan chef training, she got a job over in WA for a family, and she catered for them every day, 5 days a week. She charged $55 an hour. So the people do have money for private chefing, and now she does some private chefing, but it's just you go, it's just, she just goes in for one day and provides all the food for the week. So there's plenty of different ways that you can do private chefing. You can do it for families, individuals who don't have time to cook. For workplaces, there was Hemp Foods Australia. When they first started, the boss said that he didn't want his staff to have to make lunch in their own time, because they needed their own time to do whatever they wanted and not make lunch while they're at work. So he got a private chef in to create lunch for them every day. So busy mums and dads. And then there's NDIS clients, yachts and super yachts. So just want to talk about the NDIS clients. There's two ways you can work with NDIS clients. You can work with them cooking to become more independent, or you can go in as a support worker and cook with them or for them. Or they might, like Jen just got a job and she just provides 3 meals a week to her NDIS client, and it just gets billed through NDIS. So that working as a support worker and cooking for them is easier these days, because NDIS doesn't like training. They don't pay for training right now. So yeah, just there. And then meal delivery service, that's how I started. So you can create meals to deliver to individuals. You can create meals to deliver to organizations. You can create meals to sell in cafes and shops. Or so we're cafes and shops. A lot of cafes, they like cakes is really important for them. Like they don't actually want to be making the cakes. They want someone to bring them in. Or there's a health food shop in Brunswick Heads, close to where I live, and they actually asked me, but I had to put them onto someone else. But they don't want to be making the lasagna and the pie, not the pies. They get someone else to do. They don't want to be doing the lasagna and the bakes, so they need an external caterer to deliver them every day or every few days. You can create meals for people to come and pick up from a venue. I used to get them to pick it up from a house, so it's all sorts of things. And then products, which is exciting. And you can make products to sell online, to sell to supermarkets and other food providers, to hotels, cafes and restaurants. So you can make dips and sauces and cheeses and cakes and chocolate and magnums, which are there, or magyums, snack bars, burgers, tempehs, pasta, pickles, sauerkraut, chutneys, jams. You could do complete meals. That's what Lisa did for a long time. She's still doing that in Torquay. Complete meals, going into all the IGAs in her area. Dehydrated meals for camping. Any other products anyone can think of? You can specialize in event cake baking. You can offer picnic hampers at tourist venues. You can offer food gift packs and hampers. You can have a sustainable make your own meals product where you have the food all chopped up for them in a recipe card. I know that already happens, but it's not sustainable. You know, I've seen those services and it's all in plastic. So you could think just because someone has done something doesn't mean that you can't do it, and it doesn't mean that you can't do it better. And you might not even be competing. You might have different customers. You have a different clientele. So if you have an idea, like when I decided to do my meal service, and there was no Facebook or anything like that. I had there was a Yahoo group that I advertised it from, and just flyers. I don't even think I put up the flyers. I just did it through a Yahoo group. The very next day after I did my first delivery, 2 people came on with a similar service. And I was mortified. You could just imagine. I was like, they've copied me, and that people are going to want their food. But I just kept going, and people wanted my food. And those 2 businesses didn't survive, but we would have all been able to survive. So you never have to worry that you have this great idea. When you have that great idea, maybe 1,000 people in the world have the same idea, or maybe more, but there's space for us all. So yeah. And what else? Food gift hampers. So the possibilities are only limited by your imagination. Can anyone think of any other products? Oh, tempeh. Jessica makes tempeh. Has anyone listened to Jessica's fresh soy milk? Oh, Jessica, is that going to be your new business as well? Oh, Jessica, podcast number 22 is I interview Jessica about tempeh. So yeah, See you, Shripati. Nice to have you here. You can listen to the rest of the recording. Yeah. So, what? All right, let's move on. Okay, and then this is education. So you can start up a business consulting chefs on how to make sensational vegan food to put on their menus. So I go to a business conference every year in Noosa. Well, I've been twice, and they just don't know how to do vegan food. They need consults. Even they could actually have someone to all their conferences, because they do conferences every week. They're going to get more and more vegans, and they get lots of different dietary requirements. They could have actually someone taking food for them or preparing food, that the main chef, because the main chefs just can't do it. And there needs to be people out there consulting those chefs on how to create the food, or give them good recipes, and how to do it when they're doing the other food for everyone else. You just end up getting a lot of leftovers, basically. So you can consult health and education departments on getting healthy food, vegan food choices on menus and in the syllabus. You can start your own cooking classes. This one, though, it's really good to have a mailing list, or have been providing food. So that's what Susan is doing the pop-up, and right now it's a great way of doing the pop-up is getting her name out there, and she can get all those people that come to the pop-up on her mailing list. And so then when she does start doing cooking classes, she can then she's got a mailing list, and so she might attract some of those people, and the people thought, oh, that food was so good, I want to make it for myself. And there is another, and this is not on the slide, but there is a platform called Class Bento. So you may want to write that down, and there may be others, and they offer all sorts of classes. And I've been on there. I've been on there since 22, and I've had 2 clients from them, but I'm not very active. I just went on there because they hassled me so much. But they told me that online it's better to do in-person classes, but still people want online stuff. So you could do it online or in person. In person is a lot of people still want in-person classes, but you can do both through Class Bento. They take a fee, but if you were thinking about doing cooking classes, you could go on there. Ask doctors, medical centers, gyms, markets, restaurants and wellness centers if you can run events where you can do cooking demonstrations or classes. So Pandora, who I'm going to talk about a little bit later, she now works for her local gym. She's also a fitness instructor. She's also a nutritionist as well. But they let her have a table set up, and she's got her cookbook, and she's got her dehydrated food and her sexy seeds that she has. And she also has cracker mix, and she's got that all there for sale at the gym. And she also does seminars and webinars, and she has done webinars. She's done webinars with that gym, because that's not just an individual gym, it's a group gym, Genesis, I think it's called. So, she says that she is the gym's secret weapon. She gets so many more people coming because they also want to talk to her and get the nutrition side of things. There are so many gyms out there. Every gym needs a Pandora. So there's so many different ways that you could educate people. Teach people how to stock up their fridge and pantry in order to cook well. You could even go shopping with people. People don't know how to do shopping. That stops them from cooking. Teach people how to cook plant-based food for their specific dietary requirement, and offer team building cooking classes to small businesses or corporations. So, especially at Christmas time or all through the year, they want to do things like that. So, so I think I've finished with that section of it. Oh, no, I haven't. Food blogs, cookbooks. There's food blogs are still really good, and recipe creators. I was asked so many times, would I create recipes for other authors, other cooks? I didn't do it, but you definitely can do it, and you could write your own cookbook. So it's harder to make your whole living from this, but some people do, and it's a way to create leverage. And if you do it properly, you can get a very good following. So you can actually, I was approached by authors, but you can approach authors, writing recipes for them. Your recipe doesn't go underneath your name then, but that's okay. You can approach the places like the Heart Foundation, Diabetes Australia, or whichever country you're in, and you can create recipes for specific diets like the low FODMAP diet and the SIBO diets. I did create a big lot of recipes for the SIBO diet, and that went into someone's book. And then, oh, that's not right, here. And you can work in specialized areas. That's the lovely Jen. And Jen is working with lactation. So she's a lactation consultant. She was working here in Perth, but she's now in Canada. And she also brings cooking into it. So she teaches the mums what they need to cook, what they need to put in the fridge before they have the baby, teaches the rest of the family what they need to cook for afterwards. So you could do it for specific family needs, pregnancy. I didn't put on, I have to put on here cancer recovery, autoimmune disease, injury recovery, newborn mamas, lactating mothers, all sorts of things. So that's the ideas that, that's the ideas section. And now we come to the vegan chef training. So most of you on here have done the vegan chef training or doing it, but there are a few who aren't. So do you have any questions about how to make money as a vegan chef? Just before we go to, does anyone, I'll just wait for any questions if you've got it. I just wanted to talk about something that came up for me in the last 2 weeks. Tenzin and Emily, who have a cafe in, that's what I wanted to say, and then I'll come back to that. Mark, who will be listening to this on the replay, he has a cafe in Adelaide, and with cafes, you can make good money in the cafe, but also providing. If we go back to the photo of Ebony, here she's starting to provide merchandise and products, and this is how you can create more money in a cafe, or if you've got a bricks and mortar business. And so you could also be providing products for cafes that they could sell as well. So that's a way to make money. But also with a cafe like Lauren, who has a cafe in Townsville, she's actually been running cooking classes through her cafe. So there's a lot that you can do even if you've got a cafe. There's Fel's Cafe in Byron Bay, and she provides meals, like people come and pick those meals up for the whole week, and she does detox for the whole week. So there's so many different things you can do. So they, maybe Ebony or someone who has a cafe, they're like, well, I don't have time to do detox things for everyone, but they might outsource it to you, and you could do that. So she provides juices and broths and things. Okay. All right. So so no one has any questions. Okay. So I run the vegan chef training every year, and since last year and moving forward, it's an online program to make it more accessible to people. And if you want to hone your skills and become a fabulous vegan chef who can create food that tastes sensational as well as being fully balanced nutritionally, for people, so that they can really be turned on to vegan foods, so that they feel full and satisfied and realize that they're not missing out on any nutrients, then the vegan chef training is a fabulous place for you to start. So what I was going to say before, I was thinking, Tenzin, who has a cafe, he did a little thing on his Instagram last week talking about purpose. And so he said, because the purpose was their driver of their cafe, not profit, they have stayed in business for so long. And so it made me think about what my purpose was. And my purpose has always stayed the same, even though my business has changed. And the purpose for that was that I can show people how incredible vegan food is, so that, so that it's delicious and healthy, that it's not just one of those things. And so over the years, maybe 100 people have become vegan because of what I've shown them. But what interests me more and what makes me more curious is that thousands of people have woken up to the possibility that vegan food can be amazing. And so they may not have gone on to become plant-based, but they have got a good taste of it, and know that it's amazing. So I like that. showing people through your talent of cooking vegan food is the most rewarding act. And for me, it's been much more so. I did dabble in animal activism and I did do health promotions, but through cooking, I think that has turned more people onto how good vegan food is. So that's just a little bit of that I just wanted to pop in there that I thought about after I did the slides. So Sue, when making food for someone or a cafe, do you have to have any certification or special kitchen requirements? Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. So what you do, Sue, you're and the Tweed Council, you're pretty lucky. Our council's very good. So you will have to do your food safety certificate, food safety supervisor certificate. And then in New South Wales, you have to go onto the health safety website and go through that. Sign up with that. And then they tell you to contact your council, and then your council will tell you what regulations that's needed. And in the Byron Council and the Tweed Council, you need stainless steel benches in your kitchen. But you need to have done those certificates, and that's in the Vegan Chef training. We do so much on hygiene. So I know that everyone who goes out from the Vegan Chef training is going to be clean in their cooking, because the last thing you want to do is poison somebody. And so if you know, and Sue, your kitchen is immaculate, not that I've been there, but I can imagine, you will be fine. And our councils don't come and inspect. Some councils do, like the Fremantle Council, where Natalia is. You need to have a separate fridge. And so never be afraid of having that, of going through those channels. Because you just, like the Byron Shire told me I needed stainless steel benches. I didn't own those kitchens, so I couldn't go and rip out the benches. I just bought some stainless steel benches and fitted them into the kitchen. And then that's where I cooked. So there are ways around it. And so never be afraid of it. But when you're starting off as a hobby and you're doing it just for your neighbors, if you know you are 100% hygienic, you don't need to go through the council. Do you? I don't think so. Don't tell anyone I said that. Okay, so the Vegan Chef Training is a fabulous place to start. And the reason why I created the Vegan Chef Training is what I told you before, is I could see so much talent, and then people thinking that they couldn't do the business without certification, make a business, a vegan business, or be a vegan chef without certification and certification. I'm saying it wrong. And so I thought, I've got to create something. I'm a teacher. I've self-taught myself. I can do it. And I want to do it from a place that comes from kindness, not, the chef trainees can be pretty rough, the traditional ones out there. And also I wanted to do it because when I started my business, there was no help for me. I shared recently that I went to some counsellor that the government offered, and he told me my business wouldn't work. And that was probably the best thing anyone could tell me, because I was going to prove him wrong. So I wish I knew where he was now, because I'd tell him, look. But so I made mistakes. I made costly mistakes, and I didn't make any mistakes with hygiene. That was all perfect. But I did not do so well on the finances at first. And I just want to help people through that. So that's why and there's all sorts of things that you learn in the Vegan Chef Training, lots of tips and tricks that you just don't think about. And there's so many things that if I'd known before, I would have, been able to start off really good. I remember the first event I did was actually for a friend's funeral anyway. My friend looked at all my boxes that I'd just shoved everything into boxes to get it there. And she said, Fee, you need to be a bit more organized than this. And so that you learn all of those things in the Vegan Chef Training about labeling and, things that I didn't even know. It's just like, I've got to get this stuff out to the venue to get cooking for this funeral. And so it just all went, so that's maybe people are much more organized than me on that. But that just things like that you also learn. And then I just wanted to go, look, there's the lovely Jessica. So what Jewets are up to now in the Vegan Chef Training? Well, there's Susan on there who is doing her pop-up, and Shri Patti, who left, she's starting to cook food. She wants to cook food for hospices, and she's going to be also working with the NDIS. People have opened up cafes in Bermagui, Dwelling Up, and Townsville. Andy worked for the famous vegan restaurant Smith and Daughters. Some people just did the Vegan Chef Training to cook for their loved ones. Like the two guys, actually, they did it because their mums were ill. That was just so beautiful. Some people have set up coaching businesses for people with eating. One person actually has set up a coaching business for people with eating disorders. Pandora's running cooking workshops and nutrition sessions in a local gym. People are catering on yoga and meditation retreats. The lovely Jessica is making tempeh to sell at the local market. Ariane's running a market stall selling breakfast and lunch and snacks. And Natalia and a lot of people are doing private chefing. Pandora, she published and sold 3,000 cookbooks in 3,000 copies of her cookbook in 2 years. And then there are people creating a product to help people cook well when traveling. So let's see what it says here. Here, loved every dish we have made together. That's why I started through health for myself and my partner. And now look, now you have your own pop-up. Yay. Barty uses what you've taught him for the weekly Gondwana vegan community meals. Yes, and he only did 2 modules of the Vegan Chef Training. So yeah, that's great. Thank you, Catherine. And what you can expect from the training, you can expect exceptional knife skills, and you can show off to all your family and friends because we use the French terms, knife skills. So you can ask them to brunoise your carrots. You develop style of presenting food that is appealing to eat, and it's your own style. You develop skills to develop recipes to meet all dietary requirements, ability to plan menus and recipes, food substitutions for meat products, and the confidence to ensure all essential nutrients are in food and recipes you create. You look at putting systems into place to set up your own business. You learn skills and understandings of how to set up a commercial kitchen, understand how to maintain a kitchen that meets food hygiene standards, and you have the ability to plan menus that support clients' health and well-being when following a vegan diet, and the ability to design a product and set up systems to distribute your product. You'll finish the Vegan Chef Training not only with fantastic chef skills, but also the skill set to start setting up a business of your choice. So, and this is just how now it's online, and you get 18 Zoom sessions. It's advertised as 3 hours, but we always do 3.5 hours. So I've put it to 3.5 hours. The modules are, we do the Vegan Foundation cooking course, which everyone on here, except a few of you, haven't done. Raw cuisine, Ayurvedic cuisine, macrobiotics and whole foods, dietary requirements, menu planning, food photography, faux foods, and establishing a business. And the sessions are live with me, and now we're doing group ones to make it more accessible and more affordable. So there will be 2 other people with you. And all the sessions are recorded, so if you can't make it, it's recorded. You get your shopping lists and syllabus, and recipes are sent to you digitally. And the price now is $6,200 upfront, or there's a payment plan over. It's actually been set up over 12 months, so it would be $550 each month. Okay, so I'm going to stop this sharing. If you are interested in doing that, just please, you can book a chat with me, or you can ask me questions afterwards, or you can send me an email, and I'd love to have you along in the next Vegan Chef Training, which starts on the 1st of August. So I'm going to stop sharing the slides and take you all off mute. So if you want to have a chat, let's see how I can do that. We can. I just have to I have to ask you all if you want to unmute. So if you don't want to, you don't have to.
Okay.
Yay. So if anyone has any questions or anything you want to talk about or say, or
I just wish I could come up with a good idea.
Yeah, well, that's some people come and do the course and they don't have an idea. And then they get an idea. Yeah. And actually, it's not some people, it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And some people come and do the course just for their own selves. And I think Susan might have been
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. I started because my health, I had high cholesterol, and my partner was diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer. He had high cholesterol as well. So after lots of research, decided to go plant-based. But for some reason, Veet came into my life on my Facebook feed, and that's how I started. But I started on the foundation course just so I could learn to make sure we were giving the right nutrients to Kevin and also the right nutrients for me, but also wanted to make it delicious too. And then loved it so much, ended up doing the chef's course. Had no idea I would do that, and now I'm doing pop-ups. So, yeah, so yeah, Sue, you just don't know where it's going to take you.
Yeah, yeah, that happens quite a lot. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, any other questions? Thanks, Susan, for that.
I got a question. Is there any way to do just the business side of things? Because like I've already tried to run some vegan businesses in the past and didn't do well on the business side of things, but I have the skills to back those up. I've had a lot of experience, but I'm not sure what I would do, but going through all the training again is probably not what I would do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. Absolutely. Is it Tones? Is that what, or Tony?
Yeah, Tony.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tony. Yeah, absolutely. I do business mentoring, so that is
Okay.
also a program that yeah, I think yeah, and that's an individual program. So then you would
Okay,
get
right.
a lot there because it would just because it does sound like you've got the skills, so you could just do the business side, and so that's it's a different program. You
Okay.
can and it's online with me, but it's
Yeah.
very specialized to what you need. So there is someone actually
Hmm.
who did the full vegan chef training, and she's working with people on the SIBO diet. But I've just done 6 months of business mentoring with her to get her business up and running. So yeah,
Okay. Cool.
I can send you that. Um,
Yeah, just send me the info about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
can you pop your email address in the chat, or you don't want to pop it in the chat? You
That's
just send
fine.
me an email, or
Yeah. I'll just pop it in the chat.
okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yay. What Tones? What were you doing? What sort of business were you doing?
So doing the food stall thing at like markets and stuff, and
Great.
we did a couple of pop-ups. We were trying to, book them in, do pre-bookings and stuff, but we didn't really, it was tricky getting the numbers. So that was, and also the markets, we just found them a bit too hit and miss. And so we tried a lot of different ones, and then it just makes it really, yeah, difficult when you're not getting consistent results. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, that
We
yeah.
we definitely explored going in other directions, but um, then we sort of packed up that business and then COVID hit, so we were just like, well, I haven't really been doing anything since except for some retreat catering, but it's just on a really small level. So yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's great. So the passion is still there. Yay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been sort of smoldering in the background, but it hasn't been at the forefront because I've been doing other things. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's definitely have a chat. You can book in a chat with me. Anyone can book in a chat with me, and it's of course a free chat, and yeah, see what we can do for you. Yeah, great.
Cool.
Great. Yay. Anyone else? No? No, great. Oh, thank you so much for being here. This was my first webinar. It's something I've been wanting to do since 2020, so I'm really happy that I've finally done it. So, yeah. So, thank you for being here. Yeah.
Thanks, Pete.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yay. All right. Well, I hope you have a lovely evening and you've got something delicious planned to eat. You do, yeah.
Leftovers, delicious leftovers.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Veet.
Bye, Pete. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete. Blessings.
Thank you. Bye, Catherine. Bye, everyone. Bye, Kylie.
Great to see you, V.
Yeah, lovely to see you.
Jen, you are amazing, girl.
Thank you. Thank you.
To see you still delivering the incredible wisdom that you always have, and it's just a joy. Thank you.
Thank you. You're so welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay.